Roy, back in week 1, we got to see TSM and Winthrop University fight against each other on Bind, and it was pretty rough for Winthrop University. They get 6 rounds this time, but still not nearly enough, as TSM, much like Roy after finding a booster seat, standing just a little bit taller, now a little bit closer in this series. I mean, good stuff. Both on TSM and Roy. Good job.
Yeah, it looks like I'm not the only one getting boosted. Yeah, TSM doing a great job. I think that this turnaround was massive. It's great for their confidence as well. Securing their map pick in a pretty convincing fashion is a really good way to start things off.
I mean, looking back at this, it was a TSM from the get-go, Ash. A TSM that maybe there is something a little in the water in that first map that didn't quite work out, but they got really quickly off to the races here. It was a different TSM. That's what we need on the day. Some good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's something that I also just didn't get the chance to really highlight before even going into Bind, because we had so much to talk about, right? Is the fact that this is one of TSM's best maps historically, like even outside of this split, and you do have to give them that respect. I think that, you know, there were moments where we did see maybe some risk taking that you wouldn't expect, but overall the game plan I think that this team has, as far as that space taking, that space creation with this composition, and a lot of those really potent combinations that can come out with that utility as well, whether it's recoil or 7, Vora, Sim as well, just with like a plethora of like nades to combine with, is always really great to see.
And I think too, this is a TSM that I want to see more of. Maybe again, even if you didn't believe in it, Roy, maybe it was just the rest of the first series and we get to see a little bit of more confidence in everything going on through. I mean, even look at this. 13 rounds won, 15 first kills.
Yeah, that has to be the most one-sided openers I've ever seen, I think. 15-4 is crazy, guys. But, I mean, aside from just like the statistics, I do genuinely feel like TSM looked phenomenal, and they looked a lot more dynamic with their utility this time around. A big criticism that I have for teams that run the breach on this map is they tend to find themselves a little bit too rigid with their setups, and they get this like ultra like very trap style play style where they're always waiting for people to come in and they're using their utility from these perfect positions, and things just get a little too rigid. But I feel like the way that TSM was approaching things was a lot more fluid, it was a lot more dynamic, and there's a lot more room for people like 7 to pop off, because he's not restricted to these like off kill positions, very supportive positions. Like, he had a lot of freedom to pop off. He was very close to the action consistently, and we're finally starting to see him pop off a little bit.
Yeah, I think even taking a look over towards GMD, having the 4 first kills on the Brimstone is also massive as far as being able to, you know, lock down that space on defense, and then even being able to find some of those openings on the attacking side as well. But overall, like you were saying, I think that the reps that TSM has on this map really shines through with how dynamic they are. And we were talking already about 7. We had to give him the highlight. He had so much impact on this map when it came down to that positioning that you were talking about, Roy. Ensuring that he was consistently alive late into the round, able to, you know, spam that utility for his team to help create so much of that space, whether again it was used in combination with the salvos coming out from Vora or the nade coming out from Sim there as well. It speaks so much as to how he's playing for his team and looking to set them up, and it really opened up a lot of these rounds here, and that was all on 7.
And 7 also had a very good first map. We just didn't really get to talk too much about him because Winthrop University stole that first map away. But he's just continuing the train. He had a great first map. He's been a player that we've highlighted a lot last year. We've been a little bit more quiet about him this year, but I feel like he's finally starting to come into form again.
And I mean, someone who is able to step up with that much performance is always great. But then, Ash, you were also talking about being able to set up the team. And this is where we have to go back to this duelist head-to-head, because when we look at the second map and what 7 was able to accomplish, a lot of this too is being able to set everyone else up for success, including Sim.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, we initially touched on the fact that TSM had 15 first kills on the entire team up against Winthrop's 4, which is
yeah,
abysmal.
crazy.
Yeah, that's like over a 3 times multiplier, but you know, all good. And that has to do, again, with the fact that Seven was so consistently setting up his team, that space creation that him and Voro were able to make, even the stim beacon coming out from GMD as well. And for Infiltrator not having as much of that support, I think it becomes a little bit more difficult, because when you compare it to the Yoru, you're looking at Infiltrator being a little bit more self-sufficient because he does have flashes of his own, but that space creation just wasn't there for Winthrop University.
Yeah, I think a crazy thing as well with Sim's stats for this map specifically is, yeah, he only had 14 kills, which is, you know, a little bit less than standard from what we expect from Sim, but 7 of his kills were first kills. That's half of his kill participations were openers for his team, and that's almost half of TSM's entire openers on that map. So despite him not getting a lot of kills, he's definitely still having that impact, and that's the thing that we highlighted definitely about, you know, the interaction between him and Infiltrator, which definitely came to life during this second map. Now we're going into Haven though, which is a very duelist heavy map. There's really just no other way to put it. It's a very interactive duelist map. There's so many things that you have to accomplish on that map. And I feel like that sort of performance between Infiltrator and Sim, who have both been playing pretty well, is going to keep going into this third map here. And it's going to be an important factor for us to consider.
I love the players that you guys were able to highlight too. Then going into Haven, when we are looking at what TSM ran last time for the composition, with Seven back on the breach and being able to set up Sim, who had a little bit more of a quiet series last time that they played. And this for Winthrop University is a map that looked decently strong for them. But of course, we've only seen TSM play it once, Ash, and that was up against NV rankers on their undefeated streak. So I definitely don't want to put too much stock in the TSM loss. It's what they can do right here, right now.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of fun because you look towards, you know, how we had that Raze versus Yoru over on Bind. It'll be a little bit of a swap, because if they continue on with the compositions that these teams have previously run, the expectation is going to see Infiltrator actually back onto the Yoru, and then we're going to see the Sim Jet, which I think is always really fun. And with how well Seven has been playing today and expecting him to be back on that breach, I feel like it's again going to have a lot of eyes on that dynamic duo for opening up these rounds, being able to take this space. But I don't want to take anything away from Winthrop either, because I know they didn't play on Haven, but they did play on Lotus, another three-site map. They're up against YFP, and I felt like their map control and how they were looking to play that push and pull was actually really dynamic, really nice on Lotus. I need to see them replicate a very similar macro here on Haven to try and get that edge up there on defense.
Agent select for map number 3. Winner gets to keep moving along in the upper bracket. Loser, unfortunately, has to battle for their lives. And when you're looking at the first round of playoffs and the possibility of Winthrop with this big upset, a lot of pressure on them going into here. Going into the map, though, Ash, you're excited about the Sim Jet. So I got some bad news for you, but good news if you like the Yoru as well.
Okay, I'm not mad about it. I would imagine that this choice is because they were expecting moves to actually be on that Vice, and we had that conversation of the Yoru versus Jet trade-off up against the Vice Sentinel, and you do have that ability. Again, I think the clone is super important as far as being able to take value away from that wall, that passive information out early on, especially on a map like Haven, where the rotations can be a little bit longer depending on how you're trying to cut the dice.
Yeah, and we're seeing Winthrop University running a composition that is a little bit different. It's a more of a modern composition for Haven specifically. We're seeing teams like M80 pulling this off as well. And it's a very strong composition. It trades a little bit more information and a slightly wider information network for a lot more utility and a lot more stopping power, while maintaining that Yoru's map-wide presence and being able to teleport back and forth and kind of get established off-lines.
Like the other switch coming out from TSM, recoil to Cypher instead of the KJ. But it's time to see if these choices are going to be the difference maker as we head into map 3 of these series. And I cannot wait to get started. Let's send it back over to your casters now, Tenric and Shift.
Yeah, this is, I think Roy's final statement there is the appropriate one, where Winthrop is not going to have the ability to get themselves as much overall info. But again, they could just dump utility onto sites. I think especially from the offensive side, also their ability to hold off TSM approaches should be pretty significant, because let's be candid, looking at the TSM composition, their hits are going to be pretty telegraphed. You're going to get some sort of a recon, whether it be a bolt or owl drone, followed up by some sort of a fault line flash combo and a paranoia, then Euro's going to jump on in. So it just comes down to how well, I think, in this first half, can Winthrop set themselves up to react to that? And are they even going to allow that to happen in the first place? Or are they going to try to play a little bit more on the aggressive front, which we have seen them try to do in the first 2 maps?
Yeah, this is a lot of confidence that TSM have in their ability to manage fights. This is, I think, the first time we've seen GMD on Omen so far in this split of challengers. Like, he has not played this character so far. And I imagine that he's going to get a little more aggressive because of that. He wants to be a little more mobile and start shooting for himself, considering how well he's doing it. But just so many risks being taken by TSM going into this final map. Winthrop University, like you said, they have a lot they can throw at the issue. So anytime that TSM doesn't let themselves be their best, they're going to get suppressed, they're going to get killed, they're going to get smoked.
Salvo out towards A lobby as the Tejo Flare rotating back in towards B. Plenty of utility for moves to hang on to C with. So the major threat for the time being is what happens over to B. And yeah, that little double peek from Sewer as well through lobby and long works out for first blood for Winthrop.
Now you're just able to sort of repeat that, reallocate, send more members of Winthrop over to the C push where it's looking like it'll be the loudest, no doubt. TSM, like you said, telegraphed as can be. They're going to sort of just have to waltz in on it and diff whoever's there. They have no idea who it could be, though. So as that smoke dissipates, they'll just be an audience to what will no doubt happen up A short, which is a whiff from Sim.
Follow-up also going to connect for Vora. So it leads to now this execute over the C site, and wow. Wow, how about that? As they go on, looked like he was dead to rights in the first contact, and he's not. He's alive and kicking. 3 eliminations. Now leads to a spike plant, and it's just Guman stopping up, hitting the classic headshots. And Winthrop, after a strong start with the eliminations at A, now find themselves completely stuck.
The man wants to duel, and he will until Flare is able to fully silence him, but still so much more in his way. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't even an implant. It wasn't that much of a push either. It was just kind of walking on and killing. And that's what GMD did. That's what he's been doing a lot this match. He clearly wants to lean into it a little heavier. And he'll be able to with these TPs that he'll use to hopefully get in front of a lot of the util that is getting dumped. A lot of cycling we go through here on the post plant. Flashes that'll infect both Vora and Flare momentarily, but TSM will keep 2 standing and win this.
Okay. Heroics early from Guman. And now with the spike plant, this will be an anti-eco round that you would assume was going to look pretty nasty. Guardian to Ghosts, Vandal. Still decisions for what Guman wants to do with his cash. Just a Ghost there as an outlaw will be passed over. So trying to set themselves up to potentially purchase rifles into the next round, depending on how this next one goes. And I think for Winthrop, this is another one of those moments. I did see 2 sheriffs purchased, so they're stacking, thinking that we can hit our shots here and still win this anti-eco. Yeah. 2 sheriffs are purchased. Early peek and walk down through mid-grass. 3 members large on this play. Gate crash back. Fault line out. Ali trying to follow up on that. Does connect for 1, but Sim has opened the door at C, and that has to be some sort of a track back. But Ali still hangs on, finds a second elimination.
No way Ollie decides to double up on that and gets punishment too. The rest of TSM do have a little bit of extra homework to do now. There's still no gun diff. And so Winthrop still have to find an artificial way in despite the fact that it's even. And that's why Ollie's going for this long-winded flank, praying that it's not checked. You know what? 50% of the time you wouldn't be too far off so far this match, but wrapped up in a neat little bow. Sim worth 4 this round, already on the road to a dimensional drift.
Wow. Okay. 2-0 up. The bonus, as mentioned, with those Guardians, or pardon me, the Ghosts that were purchased will now be upgraded into major rifles. So again, this as a quote-unquote bonus is going to be very powerful for TSM. Dimensional Drift also 1 away from being earned, which honestly may come to play here if they can just grab an orb for Sim. He's already off to a hot start. And another moment where you kind of look at this round from the perspective of Winthrop and say, we should be 2-0 up. I mean, we get a couple of nice eliminations in the middle of the map here in round number 2. You would think that that's enough to give you the numbers advantage and maybe a couple of weapon collections, but it just gets stifled as soon as the spike gets planted. Infiltrator looking for some aggression through A lobby. Similar setup to what they had in the opening pistol with Ollie down low. Just trying to see if they can bait out a couple of shots as this dark cover should fade here in a little bit.
Leaving Infiltrator in this 1v1 that continue to anticipate
Nice
recoil, is quicker to the draw, and now tries to swing on top of it. Ollie can at least cover fire, and now down to half is forced to take that step back. TSM, perfect excuse to go exploring again. Now see if there's another solo that they can force to dwindle. It looks to be potentially Nasi. That's why he'll take the step back from the garage window and just hand this B side over. Wants to be able to stack a little heavier.
Well, I'm interested to see, will this Dimensional Drift be called at Seward to get through B Link?
Yeah.
But no, instead they're sitting here saying, all right, no one's
left.
home. We can just jump our way on. And with Sim already fully controlling the A site, Winthrop are going to have some issues here. You got a couple of flashes available for you, but not a lot of stars. The salvo's already called in. Sim's found the first blood. That's a big one, too, on Ollie. Follow-up flash, try to delay Winthrop a little bit further. Secondary one also tossed out as the spike will be planted. Sim still staying underneath the aim of this Winthrop squad. Takes down more, and Moobs is going to have to try to survive through this, but he's stuck topside heaven. TSM aware of that. Teleport comes through. Sim's rampage comes to an end, but all members will drop as TSM find themselves 3-0 up with a bonus win.
And that was very respectfully played by Sim the entire way through. Of course, being on a bonus round, you would hope that that's the case. But even so, refusing to Dimensional Drift, understanding how close these defenders could still end up, being to that link door, doesn't want to give them an excuse to rush in and kind of segment this attack, making sure that the rest of TSM is already here. And getting in front, understanding the distance the salvos had to travel, understanding he has a microsecond to duck back, and then double flashes to try to play keep away. He understands the threat that he's facing, and he still goes in to try and fight it, ends up nabbing 3 for himself. Really respectable play from him the whole way through. I'd love to see that kind of discipline carry on. That'll lead to a world of hurt for WU.
Yeah. Wow. Not a strong start here for Winthrop. Stealth drone getting deep in towards A. Doesn't actually get any reveals, though. And Winthrop are not going to go down the typical route, which has often been kind of these gamble stack, maybe even aggressive push outs just to see if they can catch someone on a first blood. Instead, they're going to play a little bit more reactionary. Aldrone actually does not tag Flare, so he can still hold this angle. Sees one on the cross. Keep in mind, Armageddon could be really valuable if they get a read on where this hit starts to come from. The spike is not a part of this walk down at long yet, but it is on the way with 50 seconds remaining.
Options becoming limited. Still could move past this. No, Sim's just going to swing it all. He ready as can be for it. Paranoia's going to try and catch him, and they're going to chase this down, but not before Ollie can at least strike back and grab one more. Now GMD has to, again, press the issue a little bit harder, and will at least refrag to make this even, but now questions if this is the right move, if this is the right site, at least until the rest of TSM makes their way over. There's only 20 seconds to go. This is your only option. You've got to fight it out, and now with advantage, you have the potential to.
Infiltrator right on top. Can he find a way to stall this a little while longer? There's the flash, but no. Recoil plays the anti-angle, and that's easy enough to find the elimination that will likely put this round out of contest. Moves 1v3. Sheriff to work with. Spy cam up and ready. Just outside of the dark cover, and yeah, trying to check the close corner. Come on, able to find himself another. He has had a solid start to this map. Already on the From the Shadows, and more importantly, 4-0 up for TSM with a lot of comfort.
Yeah, the first emergency contact for most of his own smokes, and it's not self-destructive until Winthrop is actually able to shut him down, which they haven't been able to so far. And it provides so much more agency to Sim, who can just walk into this knowing that there's an Omen right behind him who has his back and is willing to dump everything in to go for that refrag. If it means generating that crucial bit of space that he went for, which, hey, Sim walked onto site, so there it is.
Who's next?
Well, Dimensional Drift will be popped here for Sim. Problem is, Infiltrator is holding things down towards A long, so this will be enough to confirm that there will be likely a C execute behind this Dimensional Drift. Well, Sim just pops out of it in a really strange spot, trying to maybe set up the fault line connection in towards Garage. That doesn't work out. Ollie's also still here trying to fight this off. So yes, the spike is planted, but numbers are looking really good for Winthrop. And this was another one of those rounds that you just don't assume is going to be this messy from TSM.
Yeah, Sim, again, getting a little cray-cray with that TP play for raw intel without having to use up a flash. I don't know, man. I think you just tossed one into the situation there. But beyond that, a shout out to Ali in particular that round, who was able to lock down 2 of the opener peaks and then still hold down the front line on top of that. Again, the bravery that both of these controllers are showing so far this match, you can see the duelist wolf that is inside of them at all times.
About there. That should work.
Well, pivotal round here early as Winthrop are trying to kind of take this pattern to this map back. And I don't even know if I can really count round 5 as a round that Winthrop are sitting here like dominating. I think that was just a really bad round from TSM.
Yeah.
But it's going to be TSM quickly trying to put some force in towards B, teleporting in for the plant initials come on. Armageddon's going to be baited out with this, though. That's the entirety of the play as he gets from the shadows to go back over to C. And yeah, Moobs is completely caught off guard by that. Paranoia also making sure Ali cannot contest. Yeah, that's just a really good bait of the Armageddon straight into the quick wrap into C.
Planted.
And whatever shreds of time GMD had to waste, he did so effortlessly, only throwing a Paranoia and a TP into things, and now it's just standard a plant can get.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of entry here. Not a lot of vacancy to make their way through. A couple spam shots coming out. Yeah, fault line trying to get them in, but that's utilized on top of the actual spike itself, not over to this actual post-plant defense deeper in towards C. So Nas is going to have to watch this round come to a pretty anticlimactic finish as he gets his head ripped off, and TSM are up big early.
Everyone doing their job that time around. Sim's Dimensional Drift paying off and making all the space necessary. But after the fact, yeah, GMD able to once again go crazy in the kill feed and be the first point of contact for when Winthrop University actually decides to descend. I mean, fielding out everybody there from Link as well. That was just such a terrific TP to the block first, and then the double back after the rest of TSM comes forward. That's such a that's GMD entirely putting himself first, but I mean, he's able to fully connect on it.
Hunter's Fury right off the get-go. TSM going to connect with that. Infiltrator able to find one response though, as the execute looks like it's trying to develop pretty darn quickly here, but Nasi's still in a pretty solid spot to hold this, especially with help now here and a pinch on the way. After shotgun to clear out Nasi, there's really nowhere for him to go. But he survives through it. Bora deals with one member on the flank, but does not expect a second in the same moment. The pinch from the front is good. It's just like, how do they win rounds like that? It's like,
yeah,
you've got everything going for you in the previous ones, but they're pulling off like these weird, like broken by rounds. It just feels a lot like yesterday.
It's a very slippery hold on this map, and then Moobs, you know, decides to wrap around a little bit early. Nasi decides to hold himself a little bit closer to entry on site, and all of a sudden TSM's plan, it completely falls on its head. It makes it seem clean, but very fragile. And so I'm wondering, does this mean that TSM is going to get less confident in their initial approaches? Because we haven't seen too many doubling back. I mean, we've seen TPs, but that's because there's a lot of them at your disposal. But we haven't seen just the good old let's go through the courtyard and see how many kills we can get, which is where we'll see they'll go window shopping here to get that opening kill this round.
Still a chance to get Nasi a little bit deeper, though. Does Vora predict this? Wow, what a read. I don't think he's looking for that initially. He's looking to see if someone tries to peek outside a garage, but still will be happy to collect the elimination. Infiltrator, okay, that's a bold peek again. Teleporting back in towards B, knowing that there's likely going to be some sort of an execute behind this, but patience is the name of the game here for TSM in the 4v3.
Man, so many moments just coming down to connecting the dots. And brave ass swings. Do we exec onto this? Do we really go for it? Is GMD, yeah, GMD could TP in front of it, so you could stunt your timing if you want. That's exactly what they're gonna do. We'll get on, we'll use everything, and then we'll util dump, and then we'll kill Moobs. Beautifully executed.
Yeah. Moobs had a chance to fight there, not getting affected by the first bit of utility, but that Paranoia lands perfectly for the deeper pick. Come on. Infiltrator just hoping for some spam. Not going to connect. 7 for the plant. Salvo down. Allows Infiltrator to stack up a couple of, wow, nearly found 3, but regardless, Flare is right there to secure his trade. So we go to the 1v1. Vora playing up against Flare. Initial toggle on the spike, but Vora right through Garage finds the connection for the quick shutdown at TSM. 5-6-2 advantage.
Still just enough to hold on to, though. Infiltrator making it as close as can be yet again. And now finally even in the kill, in the scoreboard. But still, reset after reset from Winthrop University and TSM, it's clear, yeah, they can throw so much into whatever site they want to go for that they can throw everything into the site and just one and done it. They don't really care what's there. They can overload it and claim it as their own. And then it just comes down to gunplay on top of that. Are you able to actually win your fights? Because Winthrop University, their timing for these retakes is going to be superb, and you're not going to have all that fun stuff available to try and counteract it. So it comes down to where TSM decides to plant themselves after, and that's still looking like it needs a little bit of help.
Well, a little bit of a feel out here for TSM down mid again. Last time they were here, they did bait out the Armageddon. There's really nothing to bait out now as Nasi drops. Maybe they're looking for the Rolling Thunder to get pulled, but doesn't make much of a difference. Decoy will go through, teleport back into the middle of the map, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them try to play for something into B here, especially with who they've already taken down. I mean, without having the breach in play, you were able to get some guaranteed space on B, but instead they're going to try to continue to take this battle over to Garage. Aldrone to follow up behind this, and they're going to read that there are 2 members here. So yeah, this is the time I think that TSM make a decision. Do we just commit it to B, or do we want to wrap this thing out to A, knowing that you've got 2 defenders playing on this close corner? But yeah, that'll make life a little bit easier as a couple of extra eliminations get tallied. It's just down to Boobs and Flare.
Yeah, either TSM were waiting for the pinch from the Garage, or they were waiting for the step out that Sim was holding on that A-Link door, which he gets to do single-handedly with that breach gone. Both actually happened, so TSM very happy with taking the B site now, and they'll clean this up pretty quickly. Yeah, moves can't even find one this time around, so I have absolutely nothing to complain about that round. That was perfectly flowcharted by TSM. I think they waited out just as long as they needed to, and then a little bit extra to get even more punishment. So,
well, trouble starting to brew here as Winthrop will call a timeout. Have enough to full purchase into this round, but not a lot has gone their way. And I think a lot of it is, talking about, again, just bringing back up what Roy was talking about on the desk. Winthrop should have the ability to have a lot of stopping power once they get a read on TSM's execute. But flat out, it just feels like Bind all over again, where it's just they're not getting the first bloods in these key gun rounds. And you're down in numbers. It's calling for people to step up heroically. And to be fair, there's been a couple of moments, but that's not going to get you a map win. Not against this TSM squad that looks a lot more polished since the first map that they played here in the series. So it definitely feels like we got to decide, are we playing purely for retake and just allow them to get on the site a little bit more freely and then just use our utility to stop that? Or are we going to try to get a little bit more aggressive, get some early reads, not having the ability to use information gathering tools, and then just hope that we can connect on our utility to stop them from getting executes in the first place?
yeah, we're seeing that indecision lead to a real drought of like round-changing util coming from Winthrop, which is what we were begging them to be able to come with heaps of this time around. We haven't seen a lick of Nova Pulses or Gravity Wells that have had any sort of impact so far. Granted, being defense, it's a little harder to find those pockets, but even still, Ollie could 100% go for more of these retakes cleaner down these lanes with stuff like that. And even so, I mean, Nasi in particular, unfortunately, the kill feed hasn't been too kind to them, but that's not really what I'm worried about. I'm more worried about the fact that he hasn't been able to hold down with any fault line, with any aftershock. Only the blinds have been really able to find any purchase, and that's not even activate him. That's been to activate like Infiltrator when he doesn't feel like using a curveball.
Yeah, I think they also just to kind of, separate the conversation and look more towards the individual nature of things. Like, look how dramatically different the kill death tallies are. You got essentially double positive for Gomon, Sim, and Vora. Recoil and Seven are just kind of hanging out. Like, Recoil is just making sure no one flanks, and Seven's just tossing in his utility. But on the other side of things, like, Moobs has not been able to stand tall at all.
No.
over towards the C site where he has been largely trusted to kind of play by himself. Nasi
got
has not
drowned.
been able to kind of move across the map and get his utility to stop any of these plays. So positionally, there's also issues here with how Winthrop are setting up, and you're seeing, I think, just the kill presence and the first blood presence for TSM has just been so much higher.
Has Nasi held back B around yet?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think he's held front B, if anything. I just, you can take so much more time with this. And we've been talking about this the whole bloody match, haven't we? Can Winthrop just take an extra second and let TSM come to them a little bit? That's how they lost so many rounds on Bind. That's how they almost let go of Pearl. It's been the tail of the tape this whole time. And it's leading to TSM finding so many excuses to get just free extra frags, and then these hero moments have to come in from Nasi and Infiltrator, and bleh. It's just so messy.
Yeah. The bleh reaction is perfect, I think. Now, small tech pause here as we get things ironed out. And again, it's just like the stakes on round 10 right here they're really high for Winthrop. Because you drop this one, you are essentially zeroed out in your bank account. You assume that means you're down 11-2, fighting for your life in round 12. So expect to see things like Rolling Thunder's call. This is actually going to be a pretty, I think, pretty messy round, just based on how much clutter is going to be on the screen. We got dimensional drifts on both sides, Cosmic Divide, and of course, you've got both Rolling Thunders. So I assume we're going to see probably the majority of that as we get off our pause. And now we look at TSM. Heavy stacked at A main. I mean, this has been one of those plays that Winthrop have tossed the salvo. They've tossed in the fault line. Are they going to get that again? Aldrin immediately out. Salvo does get called in. Ollie playing inside a sewer. This is not new. He's done this before. Nova Pulse comes through. Now the Rolling Thunder and Winthrop are trying to take the fight directly to TSM. They're going to get the spike carrier. That's massive, but TSM trying to rewrap around the backside of this. Shut down by Flare, and Winthrop's aggression is going to pay out.
GMD still TP'd around, though, and they're not prepared for a second flanker off of that double ultimate. And so TSM do have at least a little bit of engagement potential back in the garage, or sewer, excuse me, but with that dimensional drift from Infiltrator, he'll be able to crunch that right back up, and so Flare can encroach. That'll be 4 kills for the Teo, and that is a great excuse for Winthrop to get ahead of things. Not only do you not use all of those ultimates, but you forced TSM's hand way earlier than expected. I was going to say, I expected TSM to try to go ban for ban this round and not just let Winthrop University get away with dumping everything and grabbing a free one. TSM understood they could diff. They understood, you know, that massive gap in the scoreboard, and they were ready to go for that double TP, say, hey, we'll leave it all out on the table too. Winthrop doesn't, and they still grab everything they need to.
Yeah. But Rolling Thunder and the Dimensional Drift had been spent, so now you're dealing with a Rolling Thunder and Hunter's Fury combination for TSM. Just the Armageddon and the Cosmic Divide available for Winthrop after that Flare 4-piece. And Winthrop may get a good prediction here. Pop flashing as the shear gets triggered, but no one is in front of the wall, and that's enough for TSM to say, all right, we know where Moobs is, we know where Infiltrator is. Let's try a different part of the map, see if we can spread this defense a touch more.
I know where Flare is too. Honestly, both sides look a little frustrating, and with only a minute to go, it's not like you can, like, default. You're gonna be, you know, 2 in the weeds at that point. So you gotta explore the second channel, and who else to send but Sim to go searching first. At least make a little bit of extra noise to keep Ollie stuck here, as the rest of TSM will make their way down B. Long, but no smoke, a blind available, moves, easy pick.
The thing is they have to commit. Nice paranoia, cuts across the side. Infiltrator still playing backside platform. Should have waited, really. I mean, you've got a perfect combination with the fault line and the Armageddon coming through.
30 seconds left.
But Sim will still drop regardless. Now you're down to underneath 30 seconds, and Vora may have to pop Hunter's Fury here if they still want to try to force this into C. Does he get an angle to open up the site through long? Do they even commit to this? Gawanda's actually looking to make a play in through mid. I mean, this is still a round you can go for 3v4. Recoil's just going to walk up. If he finds one here, there's a realistic chance that they can pull this off, but no, it doesn't check the corner behind the double stack boxes. And now Recoil doesn't have enough time to make a play. Winthrop find a couple in a row to keep this half more manageable.
By far the most telegraphed push we've seen so far this half. Exactly what Roy was talking about on the desk. You could see that coming from a mile away. And for a moment there, Moves actually did see the entire push coming from miles away and got a free kill out of it. So TSM, unfortunately, nothing in the tank at that point, playing for distance here. Not allowed to do that at this stage in the half. Winthrop is too prepared. That being said, no more dry peeking either, guys. Come on, let's wait for the rest of our team.
Well, Big round 12 here. Still
many
holding
openers
on to a
for
couple
TSM.
ultimates for TSM, yeah.
Blocking vision.
Quick play, try to once again, maybe try to get isolation over to Ollie. Salvo's called in, a little bit more on the delayed front. TSM, ooh, Hunter's Fury gonna get called here as they know Ollie's playing, but Flair will take his position. Oh, and if he can find 2, that would be an incredible save. Maybe more than that, but 7 trades it back, 3v3. Sim looking to get aggressive on the front side at A, but once more, Winthrop just stacking up at Sewer.
Nasty bait to equalize, and they'll do it a 3rd time on top of the Rolling Thunder. 7 can't even grab the kill off the blind. And apparently, this is the hometown that Winthrop was searching for on Haven. It all happens in the sewers. And the Rats will make it 5-7. Sim trying to go for this 1v3. But the spike, so open and available. Only 1 flash, only 1 decoy. Infiltrator, the opener. Not the finisher, though. Sim, 1 more before the going gets too tough. A great recovery from Winthrop University, truly able to read. And then, I mean, the conditioning worked perfectly. They inserted Ollie, and then TSM was like, oh, we've seen this before. We're so ready for it. They and then Winthrop, they drain the Hunter's Fury on a free body that they know they don't need. Because you know why? Because Flair's here now. And he's able to immediately equalize. That was so fun. I absolutely adored that from Winthrop University. And then the fact that they go in again on it a 3rd time with the stack, just disgusting.
Big bounce back late in that first half. Puts us right back into a very tight game, which this series has largely been outside of the opening at behind. Pistols have been evenly exchanged between both teams at this point, really, as well. So not much you can look at in terms of major advantages going into round 13. TSM, also the question will exist in terms of how do they want to play this defense. Again, this composition is not exactly what I'd call new, but using the Yoru instead of what has often been a Jet in the history of Haven could be interesting. And well, Sim just takes the peak, finds the kill, and that's enough to allow an opportunity for Vor to stay forward. But good discipline for Winthrop. Secure a trade. We go 4v4.
Yeah, just making sure that nobody gets caught in the thick of that. And the fault line, good coverage the whole way down so that something like that can't catch you off guard. Winthrop doing a great job of making sure that no one from TSM gets insanely greedy. And at this stage in the match, you got to be prepared for absolutely anything. I'd rather Winthrop University be over-prepared than what they've been a majority of this match so far.
Got the spike.
Oh, moves. Gets an information over towards Guamon. Frenzy in hand for him. This could get nasty, depending on the timing of how he gets this paranoia. Tossed out. Salvo behind this. Winthrop still stacked up, though. Guamon is not going to be affected by that fault line, though. This is a really good angle for this Frenzy. There's the follow fault line, and he gets flashed behind that. So shut down. 7 trying to follow up to stop this spike from being planted. Defense also rotating quickly with Sim around the backside at long. They need to get here quickly, though, and they do. Just down now to the player at long, but Sim drops. Nice shots for moves. Right back in this game is Winthrop with the pistol win, looking to tie us at 7 next round.
God, yeah, they really did have so much to throw at the site there, didn't they? I really thought they were just continuously out of blinds, and GMD was finally able to breathe for a moment, but they just do not let up until this thing is clear exactly how they should be and exactly how they're willing to orient themselves. We got a full bank again walking into this follow-up. And Winthrop, yeah, they're perfectly fine letting go of 1 or 2 here as long as they're able to punish as frequently as you're traded away. From there, you can just keep your standard flow, your standard plan going, which is find a site, find the weakest one, and just let it all out on the table.
Over Winthrop. Stealth drone gets all clearance at A long, and moves will make matters worse here for TSM as first blood gets tallied. You've got to stack up here on the cross. There's the team shots. Moves able to find 1 more. And recoil. Ooh, he's heard this though. And he's gonna be able to call the defense out of A. And do they actually push through the star? Yeah, Paranoia's gonna cut through first. Now recoil's behind this. Oh, and what a setup this could be. Quick response though from Flair. The pinch from the inside B, not fully gonna work out, but the front line is held. Unfortunately, there is just no ability to rotate out. Gamon's just gonna try to stack this over through garage, and well, the re-rat back to B is gonna allow Winthrop to actually go deeper than that as they head back out a window, and they're going to get an A plant.
Gundif continues to permeate TSM. Great ideas the whole way through, but you just can't fight something like this. This round, unfortunately, We'll see what GMD tries to do, but it's,
30
again,
seconds left.
pretty understandable where he's going to be coming from for the most part. Ollie's going to check for it out the gate, in fact, and
Gun here.
we will be tied up. This is the attack plan that we expected Winthrop to come into this map with, and it's exactly what they intend to exit it winning. This bonus round is going to be one of the toughest tests of strength from them we'll see so far. That being said, I mean, they will still have everything in the kitchen sink to throw at this situation, so they can at least slow it down. They can make it disruptive. They can make it so available, a barrage of opportunities for TSM to fumble. The more instances of action, the more instances of decision-making you force TSM to go through, the more often that TSM is going to find something or slip up on something, and WU can find a way to slip through the cracks and just let everything go.
There they are.
Decent reveal off the recon bolt. It's going to allow Command to push a little bit further down too long, but watching it passively is Ollie. So that's another first blood here for Winthrop. TSM still kind of banking off of the setup at A. I mean, you're double stacked with the Cypher, and you've also got Vora playing right on top of him. So a lot of trust that Sim can hang on to his ground and Seven can hang on over towards B.
And a ridiculous amount of trust to be placing in a player that can be one-shot by an outlaw, walking down C long when no other presence has been confirmed. So now you get a free C site because there's no way anyone from TSM is going to move until any inch of intel is given. And that's going to happen when they dump all the util onto this site. And yet you still got moves inserted. So you got to do a bunch of triple checking anyway before you even get there. It's a road trip for TSM, a long and bumpy one.
Hush up.
And moves on the alert makes matters a little bit worse. Sim able to respond though. Problem is, they don't have any access to play through C long, and Ali also punishes the rotation. Reveal in towards Cubby, but it might not make much of a difference just with the sheer force that you have to hit a shock dart here, honestly, if you're Vora. Well, that'll help. Cubby does get cleared out. Vora now starting to defer his walk down. Infiltrator, though, coming back over through Garage. Yeah, good flash play. Infiltrator will find the final two eliminations, and Winthrop will take the lead here. I won't say late in the map, but they do take their first lead regardless.
And it looks strong. It looks like you're able to... It looks very casual from Winthrop so far. Of course, C-Site looks to be their strongest site by miles. It's not like you can replicate the same thing for an A-post plant. TSM is going to be a lot stronger for that thanks to the Yoru Omen. But, yeah, I mean, if you keep punishing like this and then just moving in on the weak site, then you're made on a map like this. So Winthrop doing everything right at the moment, just allowing TSM to make as many mistakes as there are available.
Well, TSM is going to play a little bit of a crossfire setup at window with a double stack inside a garage at the same time, so lots of focus through mid. Just a flash to see if they can move anything around. Winthrop just holding, paying some respect, not challenging anything yet. Stealth drone, oh, that's enough to reveal. Infiltrator, also up top. Ooh, this is his window right there. And Recoil still fighting, but no, surely not. Surely not. TSM still cleaning up as Recoil finds three. One more to grab. That's Vora inside a window. Moves completely revealed here, and now all of a sudden, Guamon can jump on the way to try to assist as Vora will find a rifle to play with.
Recoil, I'm aghast at how you're able to continuously creep up and find those. I'm amazed at TSM's ability to want to still push that after Sim finds absolutely jack.
Yeah, for real.
And that took actual seconds to move up those stairs. And TSM, it looked like they were like, oh, well, here we go again. Let's go in and fight this. And yet, you're able to find from the crevices, Recoil going absolutely berserk.
Moves does have a winnable situation in front of him. Recon Dart will flush out the site. Has the Steel Garden to play with, also a Razorvine. He's gonna catch one for free. I mean, we're just running on in there. Very odd. There's the Steel Garden. Also gonna throw a Razorvine down. Moves now looking to get aggressive. Vora trying to hold the angle. Both players avoiding one another for now, but Moves will lock in the 1v2 clutch. And Winthrop will hold on, if not only just barely, to the weapon advantage that they had going into the round.
I'm hitting the Guinness World Record that they should have won this match. because it is just so flip-floppy, and based on how much TSM decides a piece of like clearing util is worth. Just no smoke, no blood, no nothing. From when you know a steel garden was just thrown from that very area. I'm really amazed at TSM's inability to take that seriously after recoil gave them such a dying shot.
Oh,
Wow.
Sim,
Wow.
opening angle through garage. Looked good initially, but moves. It's a little bit too slippery. A wider peak. Has him now collecting first blood, and hold on a second. You convert this 5v4. Winthrop's going to be on 10, and TSM are going to be in dire straits financially. But come on, evens the odds. Recoil tags onto the decoy. Flash still coming through. Spy cam deleted, though, as this cyber cage actually allows Infiltrator to stay on site. Help also on the way from garage. Aftershock coming through, but 7 gets on top of logs. And all of a sudden, Winthrop has been stuffed on this playthrough C.
And now with the Cypher ult, you're able to deduce whether or not Winthrop is actually heading out or not, something that has double-crossed them so many times. And you're also able to read that Flair is still here for the lurk watch, and this time GMD can wrap that up. So 3v2 entering the plant. That moves first has to clear out, and he's doing it dry. But Bora can't win that initial fight. There it is. Ali now alone. Operator in hand. You're going to push this? Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah.
At least for one. But that'll be TSM. They stopped the C push, and so all of a sudden Winthrop looked a whole lot weaker. That's what you need to do.
Don't give them time to reposition.
All right, now we get back to essentially an even game, especially when it comes down to the overall economy. Kind of last legs here for Winthrop for the time being. They do have an Armageddon to play with, though, most importantly. Have not really seen that come into play on their offense as of yet, so see how they try to manifest something on these executes, which, again, it just opening first bloods just either A, have been rare to come by, or B, just really haven't been followed up on by Winthrop. They've missed a lot of opportunities with numbers. Recon bolt over towards A-Long. That'll get the angle 1 for Sim, but the focus is very quickly with Dimensional Drift already playing in towards C. Smokes are down. Here comes the hit to follow, but there's not a... Well, someone's at my front door. Someone's coming through here as the spike is now finally making its way on, and that's enough for a plant, but the defense is already here.
Yeah, Sim is right on top of this and will go for the body block and Infiltrator to force out that CP. Now the Cosmic Divide from Ali to split this back in 2 and get these attackers back up and close with this fight. Moob still on the lurk as well. WU going for a crunch themselves.
Oh, an Infiltrator just stays alive. Aldrin doesn't scout him out. That turns into a double with the Bucky. Or pardon me, with the Judge. Flair with 2 of his own. And after what was essentially, whoa, unavoidable mess on the C site, Winthrop just gonna get a little bit blessed. The last piece of utility left is the Aldrone. It doesn't see the key player sitting right on the other side of the Cosmic Divide, and now Winthrop take themselves to a 10-8 tally, and TSM to talk about it.
That's unreal connection from Infiltrator after he got fielded away by Sim as well. TSM left for the millionth time, not fully prepared. And Winthrop faster to the issue than we could possibly realize. Again and again, the snowball we're seeing develop right here, right now, could lead this collegiate team to winners round 2. And this would be by far their most prestigious win in
Correct.
Challengers history.
Yes. You also got to talk about the fact that, like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like TSM have been in a lot of these rounds that they've lost, but at one point, this was a 7-2 game.
Yeah.
Now it's 10-8 the other direction. It just kind of feels odd that TSM haven't taken a moment to talk about it until now when they're going to be on a broken buy situation, and you've got a lot of key ultimates coming up here. So, I don't know, man. I'm starting to continue to consider the fact that, like, these top seeds that were so comfortable in their opening matches at the Swiss stage are coming out and just giving away too many rounds. Winthrop now, again, a chance to put themselves to 11. And there could be a couple of key ultimates for them to earn up here in this round of the next. I think in particular, I'm looking to see what they want to do to try to get Nasi maybe a couple of orbs, because if he could get that Rolling Thunder online, that'd be huge.
Yeah, try and run it up this round. It's like you said, the mentality we're seeing is these teams getting so comfy that they sink into the couch. Lose that activity that these teams that were fighting and fighting and fighting throughout the Swiss are holding on to. Not the shots, though. That's for Nasi, but He's read early on thanks to how far away that line is procced, and so Sim tries to get on top of it, can't get that kill early on, but TSM also don't lose any personnel in the process, so ultimately, space gained for the defending side. A great trade of util as well. The moves now in front of this B site to try and go for the second leg up, and there's way less in their way.
Well, there we go. Finally, we're able to tally a first blood in towards B. And shots, yeah, Infiltrator just holding his ground. Wait a second, the reveal comes out. Ford's able to find one. Follow-up from Sim on the opposite angle. And now Recoil's got one in the corner. Oh, he hits the headshot, but it's through the box. Oh, how pivotal that elimination could be. Shock Dart makes this even more manageable as Sim's still hanging on back at sight. Nobody clears this. Flare, again, dancing with death at the moment.
Sim's got some
And honestly, Winthrop are stuck on site all of a sudden. Nasty. Oh, he gets the turn and burn. Unbelievable. Takes the shots versus Sim. The flash was there and then snaps around and takes care of 4 to get the 11th round.
Unbelievable sequence by Nasi to recover that round from Winthrop University after TSM had a cork on the entirety of Haven that whole way through. The share of shots yet again ringing out just long enough, and Recoil having one hell of a snap. But even still, Nasi is prepared enough, and there's just not enough in the way. Sim doing a world of work to get back onto this site, and it's shut down with a turn like that. 2 rounds away from the match, but down early on, GMD holding it.
And you've got to follow up the Hunter's Fury sent over towards A lobby. That's going to be enough to get Sim in position at window. Let's see if Winthrop are privy to this, because that first blood, you should know. And whoa, okay.
Time to jump.
A couple of stray shots and then an immediate teleport back. Sim is just going to hold on to the number situation here for TSM 5v4.
Here.
Very standardized A-hold out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Here.
Meanwhile, 7 just holding it back on that B site, prepared for Winthrop to execute, and doesn't want to be hit by too much of the artillery. He still will, it's just, it'll take a second, and that's the second that TSM needs to be able to get back on. Still, Winthrop CB is the tastiest, at least for now, and they'll get to this front door and see what they can throw at the problem.
Stealth drone gets a little bit of information on 7. Rolling Thunder immediately called upon this, though, and Bora is right there with it. Oh, man. Nasi trying to hang on. Sim on the pinch, though. How much delay can come through. Yeah, Nasi will be the last one standing, and they don't even know that Sim's on this pinch yet, and he will take the round for TSM. Ooh, okay. 11-9.
Gun here.
And you're in a weird financial spot here if you're Winthrop. A couple of the players can purchase, but most can't.
That definitely was off the backs of 7 being able to just rolling Thunder back onto the site, and Winthrop not really being prepared to fight it out. 7 even found a kill post-stun. Like, he was double stunned, and they still tried to approach him. Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. So Winthrop, they definitely still see the potential in this B site, but I don't think they're going to approach it with as much candor as they will this C lane and A long. B will be more of a final resort for the majority of the rest of this push. We'll just head right into garage, look as confident, as strong as ever. We're already in here. We're already having a grand old time. We're already killing.
No shot.
Wow. Again, Winthrop just full flooding. Rolling Thunder to be called behind this with the offense also forcing the Steel Garden into the play as well. 7 avoids it though. 7 finds 2. Uh-oh, not what you want here if you're Winthrop. The follow-up is decent. Numbers advantage still a carry with Winthrop in this post plant, but again, the weapons are still darn even. The only one really kind of hurting here is Flare. He's on the site with the Stinger. Armageddon going to be called through. Vora doesn't check this corner initially. That's going to be enough for Flare to find the elimination. In the same breath, Nasi takes care of the other, and Winthrop is on series point.
Match point.
Microseconds of indecision. Micro moments of misplaying. And it's Winthrop University having enough problems, enough BS in your way to be hidden among the rest. And this plant from Flare to just stay put the whole way through as this rages on. Unbelievable discipline coming from him. And Winthrop, once again, their strongest site gets taken strongly. Sim trying to get in front of it early as the A push tries to net an early kill so that Winthrop can punish.
Tense moment here for TSM. Offense taking their time for Winthrop. But no one wants to make the first move. So do we go to something a little bit more default here in terms of how Winthrop want to execute? I mean, they don't really have any information anywhere. You're getting a little bit of a wiggle peek over through C long, and that's coming out of Ali with the Outlaw. Dark cover gets placed, though. And so you really don't get too much information.
Who's next?
Are they going to try to show force at C and then gate crash something back? No, instead it's just going to be the dimensional drift. It's going to pop Infiltrator. He's already cleared out most of Garage. Sees the sole defender inside of C. The lurk from moves. Caught, though, by 7. But the commitment's already here, and Winthrop are going to commit for the plant.
Have to go for it, even on top of the dimensional drift. It's now or never for TSM. An Infiltrator is playing keep away in the Garage. Ali able to land the shots early on, and Winthrop is staying put on this site. They're not scared.
And now they've got the eliminations that they need. Recoil, last one left, but no, not able to stand tall. And Winthrop catch the info they need, even off the little delayed play through B not fully working out. Infiltrator opens up the space, stops the rotation in, and Winthrop have provided another major upset. This time, taking down a juggernaut in TSM who looks so darn good in the Swiss stage, only losing a match to Rankers. But add Winthrop into the picture. I don't want to hear from Sierra anytime soon, I'll tell you that much. I know she's beaming right now with her prediction saying Winthrop's going to find the dub in this one.
Man, Winthrop playing an upsetting Storm Cloud up until this point with Infiltrator as its dagger of a lightning bolt. But this was a thunderstorm from Winthrop University. Every member of this team truly firing on all cylinders. Just so much game sense as well. Just such smart play coming the whole way through. Continuously respectful, but more confident than anything else. The most confident I've seen all 5 of those players rather than it just being Infiltrator. Just really beautiful stuff.
Another one of those rounds and games, though, I should say, just as more of a general broader stroke. We could label it from yesterday into today. Top seeds making a lot of mistakes, a lot of sloppy plays that are getting punished by the squads that had to fight for their lives to get into playoffs in the first place. But Winthrop with a massive statement to open up our second day worth of Valorant Challengers playoffs here in Stage 1. Head to a break, and we all have to bear with Sierra gloating when we come back. Don't go far.
I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.